6 p.m. in Betwa in the East region of Cameroon. Same time right here in Douala. Good evening, dear viewers. Thank you so much for taking the rendezvous with us on this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast. First, our major stories. After several contestation by the National Order of Pharmacists about the efficacy and safety of the Bom Francois ointment, the promoter, Francois Ekume, decides to suspend the production. Despite being cherished by many Cameroonians, public authorities insist Bom Francois must respect the norms set aside by health officials before the product can be distributed in our market. And away from that, we'll talk sports, as the Chamber of Arbitration and Reconciliation of the National Olympics and Sports Committee rules against the decision of the president of FECAFOOT appointing the new technical staff of the national football team. The decision comes after days FECAFOOT contested the decision of the Minister of Sport and Physical Education by appointing the technical staff of the senior men's national football team. Those are major stories. Stay with us for details and more. Thank you so much for choosing Equinoxe Television. You made the right choice. And for presentation, I am Immaculate Fogwe. The medicinal ointment known as Bom Francois might soon be scarce in the market in the days ahead. The promoter, Francois Ekume, suspends production after some irregularities concerning the product were pointed out by the National Order of Pharmacists. Public authorities insist that Bom Francois must respect some norms set aside by health officials before the product can be reintroduced into the market. Annabella has details of that story.
Production of Bom Francois, an ointment which for some time now is being widely consumed by Cameroonians, will be temporarily suspended.
La production sera temporairement suspendue dans l'usine.
The promoter, Francois Ekume, says the enterprise needs to take time off so as to constitute its complete documents in conformity with the norms prescribed by health authorities.
Bom Francois s'engage à constituer un dossier complet pour se conformer.
The National Order of Pharmacists in Cameroon had earlier on cast some doubt on how safe Bom Francois is to consumers. The promoter reassures and precises to public opinion that Bom Francois has been tested by the Institute of Medical Research on Medicinal Plants and certified by the Ministry of Scientific Research and Innovation.
Ce produit a un test de non-toxicité délivré par l'Institut de Recherche Médicale.
The promoters were asked that with a drop in production from now, the company will send out just few commercial agents in a bid to exhaust the already existing stock.
Les consommateurs vont constater dans les prochains jours l'absence progressive des distributeurs et du produit sur le marché.
And production and commercialization of the ointment will resume after every irregularity must have been sorted out.
And now we talk something else. A huge quantity of non-biodegradable plastics have been seized by the Navy and handed over to officials of environment and nature protection. The plastics were seized during a patrol on high sea by the Navy Captain Mustafa Ibrahim. Smarjikan Gabriel reports.
A great catch for the Navy in Douala, as more than 1 million non-biodegradable plastic papers were seized by the Navy during a patrol on the high sea. The patrol that was led by Navy captain was able to seize a boat coming from Nigeria with content non-biodegradable plastics into Cameroon. The seizure comes at a time when Cameroon's government has stepped up the fight against non-biodegradable plastics, which are dangerous to the environment. We are grateful to the Navy for their collaboration, and we wish that this action continues to put order in this sector. According to an official from the Ministry of Environment and Nature Protection, the non-biodegradable plastics will be recycled. We shall destroy it at our base, and firms that have signed contracts with the ministry will come and collect for recycling. It was since 2012 that Cameroon's government signed a decree to ban the use of non-biodegradable plastics, but till date, the struggle continues.
And now we take you to the conflict northwest region, where the National Day celebrations in Bamenda, chaired by the governor Adolphe Lafrique, unfolded yesterday amidst tight security measures. Few schools braved the ghosted streets to participate in the parade. Bo Stella was at the grandstand and put together this report for the 6 p.m. news.
The National Day celebration in Bamenda kicked off with the arrival of the governor, marking the start of the day's activity at the Commercial Avenue grandstand. The event unfolded under tight security, with everyone scanned before they could access the grandstand. Activities featured the award of medals to meritorious civilians as well as military personnel.
I want to dedicate this medal to all the youth of this region, especially those who have been trapped in this crisis. So I think that it's an encouragement for all the youth of this region that no matter what you are doing, at every little corner that you find yourself, know that the Lord is seeing you and the Lord will use yourself at the head of the table to recognize you.
The military parade then opened march past in Bamenda, with the different detachments showcasing their military prowess, including the elite forces. This was closely followed by a grand motorized parade with some of the military equipment deployed to the region. The motorized parade showcased an array of vehicles and equipment, underscoring the region's capabilities in the face of the armed conflict. The civilian march past was a colorful display, starting with a giant national flag that set the tone for the participants. Students from various schools across Bamenda 1, 2, and 3 subdivisions marched past, receiving applause for braving the ghosted streets of Bamenda.
All the components of the society were mobilized, confirming that, yes, bit by bit, peace is coming back to our beloved region.
Notably absent from the festivities was the Social Democratic Front Party, whose non-participation was conspicuous, allowing the Cameroon's democratic movement to be the lone participating party.
And now we take you to Donga Mantum Division, precisely in Kambe, and also to Tombel in the Maningouba Division, where the population took the opportunity during the National Day celebration to call on the government to put hands on deck in order to bring back lasting peace in the conflict-hit regions. We have details with Cedric Chakutio.
Cameroonians all over the national territory massively came out to ask to celebrate the 52nd edition of the National Day. In Tombel subdivision of the Mandinguba division, the local population came out massively for the parade, better than in previous years, following the English-speaking crisis which prevented local residents from going out for more than 5 years now.
Since that this crisis started, we have been suffering so much. There are many enemies, died, children died, so many people, and then many people are outside there suffering. We don't have even good potable water, roads, there are no good roads. We are begging for the government to keep on coming here to help us for all these things to cease.
Though to some other people, the May 20th celebrations are not worth it, the senior divisional officer of Mandinguba still passes a message of peace and unity to his people.
Working together with the forces of law and order is to muster their development and, prepare a way forward for themselves. They have realized that together we can build a nation. Together we can change our lives.
Elsewhere in Kambe, Donga Mantum Division of the Northwest region, despite the 11th February 2024 attack and the persistent separatist threats directed to its people, the inhabitants again demonstrated resilience, courage and commitment to the unity of state of Cameroon at the 52nd edition of the National Day in Cameroon.
This is a proportional response of the devoted militants of Donga Mantum 1, that means Kambe, who have all through stood for a peaceful approach to resolving issues, and that's why you see them on the occasion of this National Day very massively and exceptionally present.
The massive turnout in these parts of the country defeated all speculation of a timid turnout in Tombel and Kambe, considering the multiplied separatist threats.
And still talking about how activities unfolded as far as the 52nd edition of the National Day is concerned. This time around, we take you to Gaundere in the Adamawa region and also to Bonalia in the Mungu division of the Lithura region. Once more, Siri Chakutui reports.
Celebrated under the theme Army and Nation Together for United, Peaceful and Prosperous Cameroon, the 52nd edition of the National Day was celebrated all around the national territory. At the Gaundere Square in the Adamawa region, students, political parties and public personalities were present. For this 52nd edition, the senior divisional officer calls inhabitants to always promote peace.
Many tribes came here and they went together, they marched together. I think it's a very important sign for us to be to forge ahead for our development.
Same message given here in Bonalea, Mungo division of the Littoral region. Here, the 20th May commemoration activities began with the award of medals, military parade, motorized march pass, and the civilian march pass.
Donc tout cela avec des écoles, les chefferies, nous avons applaudi, célébré ce vivre ensemble et nous ne pouvons qu'appeler les uns et les autres à rester dans la paix, à rester unis parce que c'est ça également le vivre ensemble. Le chef de l'État a besoin d'un Cameroun uni dans sa diversité, aussi bien linguistique, culturelle, sociologique.
For this year's 20th May celebration, local officials focused on positive message of unity.
Now away from activities that characterize the 52nd edition of the 20th May National Day celebration, let's talk education. The 2023-2024 Baccalaureate Technical Examination began across the national territory today. Our reporter, A.C. Lucilengu, was at Government Bilingual Technical High School, Aqua, and Lycée Polyvalent in Bonaberry, and she now tells us how the one went. Her report.
At the Government Bilingual Technical High School, Aqua in Douala, 166 candidates entered present this Monday morning for the 2023-2024 Baccalaureate Technical Examination.
We have three options that are being registered in our school or they are writing. We have ACA, seizure, and ESF. All have answered present. There are no difficulties or cases of alarm.
In a serene atmosphere, the candidates began with French language, which lasted for 3 hours. The principal of Government Bilingual Technical High School, Aqua in Douala, visited each classroom to ensure that examination rules and regulations are being respected and void of examination malpractices. While in Lycée Polyvalent de Bonaberry, in the Douala 4th subdivision, at 7 a.m., the candidates had their bags searched, this to ensure that no candidate gets into a classroom with a pre-prepared material. A total of 285 candidates sat in for the first paper, with 2 absences recorded according to the examiners.
In our school, Lycée Polyvalent de Bonaberry, we have started this morning with 4 exams. We have a baccalaureate industrial and they started with their first subject. So the invigilators have the list of the candidates. They are going to check the names, whether the names are well written, and make sure that the students who is in front of the class is going to write in the same classroom.
The candidates on their part expressed satisfaction after writing the first subject. The 2023-2024 Baccalaureate Technical Examination will last for 2 weeks for candidates who began with the practical session.
And now out of Cameroon, more is now known on the 3 Americans accused of having a hand in the attempted coup d'etat in the Democratic Republic of Congo. And the East Azerbaijan province, thousands of Iranians gathered today to mourn their president who died in a helicopter crash on Sunday. Details of these stories and more with Babila Jonathan.
More information emerges on 3 Americans accused of involvement in the Democratic Republic of Congo coup attempt. Congolese officials' description of events reveal that 3 Americans involved in the attack on the country's presidential palace formed an unlikely band under the leadership of opposition figure Christian Malanga. 6 people, including Malanga, were dead and dozens were arrested. Authorities said they were still trying to unravel how Malanga's 21-year-old son, Marcel, went from playing high school football to allegedly trying to unseat the leader of one of Africa's largest countries. South Africa's highest court has barred former President Jacob Zuma from running for parliament in next week's general election. The Constitutional Court ruled that his 15-month prison sentence for contempt of court disqualified him. Jacob Zuma was convicted in 2021 for refusing to testify, which ended in 2018. Iranians have gathered in the capital of East Azerbaijan province, Tabriz, to mourn at a farewell procession for President Ebrahim Raisi, who died in a helicopter crash Sunday. Foreign Minister Amir Abdullahian and 6 other people of thousands of mourners waving Iranian flags and portraits of the late president set out from a central square in the northwestern city where Raisi was headed when his helicopter crashed. The International Criminal Court is seeking arrest warrants for Hamas leader in Gaza, Yahya Sinwar, and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on charges of war crimes and crimes against humanity over the October 7 attacks on Israel and the subsequent war in Gaza. ICC Chief Prosecutor Karim Khan said the prosecution team is also seeking warrants for Israel's defense minister as well as 2 other top Hamas leaders.
Sports. The appointment of a new technical staff of the Indomitable Lions made by Fecafoot has been cancelled. The Chambers of Arbitration and Reconciliation of the National Olympics and Sports Committee passed judgment of this hearing this Tuesday. According to our reporter Smarji Kangable, the lawyers defending Fecafoot have the possibility of appealing the ruling. We have details in his report.
The news dropped like a bombshell this Tuesday after a hearing of members of the Chambers of Arbitration and Reconciliation of the National Olympics and Sports Committee of Cameroon. According to the decision, Samuel Eto'o's appointments were thrown in the trash, while that of the Minister of Sports and Physical Education, Chief Professor Narcisse Muelekombi, remains. The outing of the members of the Chambers of Arbitration and Reconciliation meant Marc Brice will work with François Omambiik, Ashu Bisson, Alium Bouka, Didier Banlock, Danny Nunke, and Noel Esenge to prepare for the next outing of the Indomitable Lions against Cape Verde and Angola. The decision rendered by the Chambers of Arbitration and Reconciliation of the National Olympics and Sports Committee could also be contested by Fecafoot, but many are of the opinion that it's high time both parties keep away their personal interests and work for the good of the country.
And that's it for the first part of the news. Talking Point is up next. Tonight on Talking Point, I'll be receiving Dr. Barrister Kamwali Men. I'll be discussing about the May 20th activities that was commemorated yesterday. Good evening, Barrister. It is a pleasure to have you on Talking Point tonight. 20th May celebration characterized by killings, ghosted streets in a conflict northwest and southwest regions. While some were busy celebrating, others in Bello subdivision, Boyo division in northwest region were mourning for the killing of the mayor and inspector of basic education. What's your reading of how events unfolded yesterday?
Yes, good evening, Immaculate. It's a pleasure. Yes, killing of Anglophone soldiers, the military, and the mayor in the Anglophone region is something that we should condemn, we should generally condemn. It is not a good thing to kill another individual for the purpose of maybe indicating your resentment or hatred towards something. You see, to me, this is a stupid way of manifesting your resentment over the celebration of 20th May in Cameroon. 20th May is a national day, and we know for sure that the separatists look at this day as a bad day and a day not worth celebrating, because to them, the union has not produced any desired effect. But I'm saying categorically that no one has the right to kill innocent Cameroonians. The military are there to do their job, and to target and kill them is not what we should tolerate. It is a very wrong thing to do. It is very, very wrong thing to do. We know for sure that Anglophones generally, majority Anglophones, do not have so much consideration, or rather, they think that that union has not worked, but it does not give anyone the right to go and kill innocent Cameroonians who think the contrary. It is not correct. It's very not correct.
Barrister, only 8 out of the over 300 political parties were allowed to take part in a National Day celebration in Yaoundé. Some major political parties such as the MRC, the PCRN, were equally excluded from the parade. Does the exclusion of these political parties reflect the unity highly exalted by some government officials right here in Cameroon?
Yes, talking about 8 political parties out of 300 permitted to march during National Day, it's another sign that the government too has a problem. It has a problem because what can justify that just 8 political parties will be permitted to march? It is a show of immaturity, political immaturity, which is not good for the state. It's not good for the state. And what's of it all to think is that some administrators requested or imposed that if you have to march, you must march with the effigy or the picture of the head of state. It is not correct. That day is not meant to celebrate the head of state. That day is meant to celebrate. It's a national day, a day which Cameroon celebrates. And so to stop anyone from marching or to oblige anyone to march with the picture of the head of the president of the republic, it's not well thought of. And I think that the president himself would not have accepted that. It shows how weak the authorities are towards promoting politics in Cameroon, democracy in Cameroon. It is not a good thing.
Now, this decision is seen by critics as a strategy carried out by the administration to dampen and consequently weaken the popularity of political parties ahead of upcoming presidential elections. What are your thoughts on this?
And it is for sure, it is a move intended to weaken, fragilize the opposition parties. And whoever is doing that feels that opposition party in this coming election poses a threat, because the Cameroonians have become more and more interested in voting and changing the present government. And so political parties equally have engaged in activities geared towards encouraging and promoting and calling more on Cameroonians to go and register, because without you being registered, you cannot vote. And if you cannot vote, you are not able to choose who your ruler, who your president will be. And so the hilarious call from the opposition party and the effect, the spillover effect of the result in Senegal that brought to power a young, dynamic young president has motivated Cameroonians to go and register massively and to vote. And so I am, in that same light, calling on all Cameroonians that they should massively go and register to vote for a new government, a new president, new parliamentarians who can represent them and deliver their aspirations.
Now, Barrister, I would like to get your opinion on this. Is a decision not violating their rights to equal participation as contained in Article 21 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, signed and ratified by Cameroon?
Of course, it's a violation of inherent rights, inherent human rights. If you look at Article 21 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, you see that people, political parties, every individual has the right to participate in the good governance and in the political life of the nation. And so when you start refusing to respect those rights, it's a violation. It's a gross violation. And the question is, why would they violate? Why would anybody violate those rights? It is because they are afraid. You know, Cameroonians must, I repeat it, must be interested in registering for the elections to vote, because it is through those votes that we can vote those who want to represent us. And so all those violations that we see is meant to dissuade Cameroonians not to go and vote, and the few that are there will virtually vote for the CPDM, of course. And so Cameroonians should know that the time has come for us to vote, and you cannot vote without being registered.
What could be the impact of this decision on the image of the country in terms of democracy?
Of course, all these acts perpetrated by the government is indicative that our level of democracy is very low. It's very low in Cameroon. But I just want us to know that no one is bigger than Cameroon. We are all called to serve the nation, and then you quit. And one day you'll be held responsible. You will answer on the things you do or the things you did not do, your acts and omission. And so that is the responsibility. That is what goes when you are given a mandate to lead the people. There will come a time where you must be accountable for the things that you do. Cameroon is bigger than any individual. The National Day is meant to be celebrated. 20 May is meant to be celebrated as a national day and not a day to celebrate a political party or a president of the republic. And so it is incumbent on every Cameroonian to go and register, cast your vote, and choose those who should represent you in government. That is the president of the republic, parliamentarians, and our mayors. I repeat, no one is bigger than Cameroon. We all come and go, and Cameroon stays.
Dr. Barrister Kamwan Liman, human rights defender, speaking there. Thank you so much for your time. And that's what put an end to today's edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe Television. Have a wonderful evening in the company of more interesting programs on ETV. Up next is Equinoxe Soir.